Hello everyone, welcome to the new episode of Professionals Unplugged. I'm your host Utkarsh. Today we have Nastia with us. Nastia, thank you so much for joining in.
Oh, hi, hello, thank you for having me.
So let's start with a very basic question. Can you please introduce yourself to our audience, like who you are, what work you do, anything you want us to know about you?
Yes, my name is Anastazja, or Nastia, which is my nickname that I usually use. Currently, I am working as the agency owner and the consultancy agency owner. We are called Insider, and what we do, we help YouTube channels grow and help have more views. We do it especially for businesses and companies and channels that are a part of business, like lead generation. The reason I do this and I feel empowered to do this is because I worked at Google and YouTube belongs to Google for 6 years in London, which is the headquarters of EMEA, Europe, Middle East, Africa,
Yeah.
where I was working with leading creators and companies and basically helping them do the same thing. I was teaching them how to grow on YouTube, how to have a lot of views, how to have lots of views without paying for it, and all the algorithm mysteries that people love listening to.
That's really great. And before starting to your current journey, can you just take few steps back and tell us about how you ended up at Google and what's the story behind it? Like, was it your dream to become an engineer at Google, or how was the journey so far?
Yeah, a few things. So I'll tell you first how to become a non-engineer, how to be a non-engineer at Google, because I'm not an engineer, and I hope I can appeal to people who are not engineers, because to me they always seem like, oh my god, these people are really smart and I'm not. So I hope to speak to people who feel they're not smart enough for big companies. No, it's not true. And secondly, I'll tell you how many attempts I needed to get to Google, and it was a lot more than one. And third, I'll share probably the key secret that helped me get in.
Mhm.
Okay?
Right.
Does make sense?
Perfect.
All right. So we'll start with being a non-engineer. I am a non-engineer. My first, I did a bachelor in Polish literature. I had a bachelor in literature that I stopped, and I studied finance instead. So my full degree is finance, which is absolutely non-engineering, and I never felt really strong in math. And I worked in business because Google has an engineering piece of like building products, but a big machine of people in sales, marketing, law, HR, and everyone else doing business. A lot of people say that at some point Larry Page said that Google does not need marketing. This is not true. Google has a pretty big marketing team. So this is not true anymore. And
Mm.
I started in the marketing team. So no, you don't have to be an engineer.
Right.
Second is did I get there and how did I get there?
Correct.
If you ever speak to anyone at Google, they will direct you to the page called careers@google.com,
Mhm.
where you have all the listings. And this is true. If your listing is not there, you are not getting into the company. This is true. All the listings are on this page. Um, I got there as an intern right after the university. And if you are trying to be an intern, watch this page, I think like winter
Mhm.
the year before. So like if you want to be the intern in this summer, so probably it's high time to look for this page at the moment or like keep track of it. Did I get there from the first time? No. Did I get to Google from my second interview? No. Did I get to Google from my third interview? No. I was trying to get to the company for 5 years. And I think I've shared my resume. I cannot even calculate the number of times I applied,
Mhm.
but I know that I had, I think, four attempts to be interviewed to Google, including the interview that I failed with a person who became my manager
Oh.
ultimately. Bottom line, the chances, if you are having the interview to Google, the chances you are not passing it are very high. And it's not because the interviews are hard. They're just like honestly just interviews. But I think it's just because the competition is higher and it depends on so many factors. But
Correct.
just do not give up. Past interviews do not make you ineligible. I'm the case. I'm the case. um, so I started getting to Google on my first or second year of bachelor's, and I got to Google on my master's 5 years later. So it took me 5 years of
Okay.
constant attempt. In the meantime, I got to Microsoft for an
Nice.
internship. Yeah. What was the factor? Shall I tell what was the factor that I think made me pass the interview versus the factors where I was unable to?
Mm-hmm.
Would this make sense?
Yep.
Um, so I think when I was trying to apply to Google, I was a really junior in all of the senses. I just did not have experience. So besides working towards my journey to Google, I did a few other things during these 5 years. I was studying the uni. I took lots of volunteering projects where I managed big charity things, right? And this is really, really helpful. And I'll tell you why in a second. I opened my tiniest business, which was a tourist agency in the mountains.
Yeah.
No tech, no engineering. And I got another internship at Microsoft in the meantime. And I think the combo of the things helped me to
Mm-hmm.
get to Google. And I think that if you want to stand out among other candidates, especially as a very young professional, do we speak to young professionals or less young? More younger, right?
Correct.
What would be the word you would say a young professional can demonstrate
Hmm.
um, to impress people in the interview? What do you think?
I think the
What
entire
other?
their entire journey through which they have
Mhm.
gone through, or the
Yeah,
experience that
absolutely.
they have gone through in their day-to-day life.
hmm And I think there is one word from this experience that people at Google love. They absolutely pray for. It's
Was
ownership.
ownership.
It's
Yeah.
ownership. And ownership means that no matter how young and experienced you are, um, what pays off is to take a project. I had the word project, but basically anything that happens,
Hmm.
and make sure you own it end to end. You take responsibility on it because ultimately, people who get to Google, and I think they're very, very different. But one thing that is very common, they all have to be owners of their thing and feel responsible for it.
Correct.
Um, so I think the breakthrough for me, again, you probably need to speak to people who interviewed me, but I think one of the big breakthroughs for me was actually the fact that I started the tiny business in the mountains. Um, it was not engineering, but it actually meant I had to travel somewhere. I had to take ownership of the business, finance tourists, end to end, I don't know, product and like marketing. And no matter how absolute small as tiny it was, I think this was the experience that made me feel like truly empowered to get. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really great. And taking the ownership and then interviewing in top companies is what really helps us, right? Because when I also take interviews for the firm I work for, so basically these
Mhm.
are the aspects that we try to see in a people, like whether they took the ownership of the projects that they have mentioned in their resume, or anything
Ah,
that they are mentioning in their resume, right? They should be
mhm.
end-to-end owner, like from starting from scratch or to delivering it right. So I think that's your main point here, to be the owner of what you are trying to communicate in the interviews, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I was unaware until I became the interviewer at Google,
Mhm.
and I was
Right.
interviewing students at career fairs. And I remember there was a student. There were people coming doing various things, but there was a student who came, and I think he did like charity by cycling somewhere. So something very off on the at the glance,
Yeah.
right? But then I'm like, okay, so this guy can cycle somewhere. He can make it in charity. He can like organize like I don't know the whole thing. Had that it was like very far cycling. So I think he stood out a lot. He stood out a lot.
Yeah, I think that's really great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, then what's the next part? Like now we got to know how you joined Google, what were the hardship or the challenges that you have faced, right? So after taking 5 years to join a company, why you left it?
God. Um, what I'm gonna say now will make me unemployable anymore. But I've said everything online. Um, so one thing I think that for many who have not been to a big company, it feels like a pinnacle of the career. To me, it definitely felt this way, right? You're at Google. Okay, there is nothing more to want. I was at Google in Poland, then I went to London. And I think from London, you can only dream of being at Google in California, so in the headquarters. But and this feels like, the absolute end goal,
Correct.
which I think is fair when you are outside, but at some point, once you get this experience, which is very worth getting, and I still advocate for Google as a fantastic employer for people, like I do.
Correct.
Okay, the reason I left is because the company is very big, and no matter how big and no matter how fantastic person you are or how driven you are, in a big company, I always had to follow the leadership. Okay,
Correct.
so there was a leadership, I was at YouTube, and they would tell you what to do.
Mm.
This is very basic thing, and this is the basics of management. Managers need to tell you what to do, which is fantastic and which is necessary. But at some point I grew, and at some point my managers were telling me what to do, and this what to do was basically changing my job entirely. My job was not becoming the same anymore. I used to be like a strategic advisor to creators, and then this job was getting like diluted by some other things. And now a really curious part, because a few pieces fell in together. Piece number one, my job was changing, and I was not really willing to do it. But you're like, this happens to everyone.
Correct.
Every job will change. Okay, every job description will change. Now I'm the business owner. Job descriptions of my people change a lot. Just talk to my team. They would be like, they'll tell you how often job descriptions change. This is number one. So this is not as bad. But I think the other reason is I actually left because I developed too much passion for what I was doing. What I was doing was YouTube. Okay. Remember, I was helping creators grow views.
Correct.
Imagine a creator, he has a channel, the channel makes money for him and his 12-person team, and suddenly they come to me and like, Anastazja, we don't have views, because of this we don't have money, because of this we are at risk of firing our team within the next 3 months, which is very stressful. And this was the case I was dealing with. Okay, so I'm like, how do we grow our views? How do we make more money for you? How do you take your team and uplift? So this is cool. I mean, this is like a big mission. Not many people at their jobs have the privilege to do missions like that.
Correct.
And I developed passion for it. And in the meantime, I also grew the channel with my mother from 0 to 600,000 subscribers. So I was not only doing it, from the safety net of Google. No, I actually have skin in the game. I do. And I know how to do. I know how it is to be you. Okay, so I don't want to be like, this is hard, and what you're doing is hard.
Correct.
But as you know better than me, to be good in the content game, you need to be in the game. Unfortunately, this game is too fast. You cannot like drop out. And at some point I realized that Google was giving me, okay, this is like 30-40% of content strategy, and this is like 60-70% of some other job you need to do. And I was like, okay, I'm young, I love the thing I'm doing, and I'm really good in this. Okay, if anyone wants to look at cases of what I was doing, I have a lot of cases described on Cases Substack. If you allow me to mention the link, place them below. If you don't, cut it out, I'm fine. So it's time to double down on it, because a rule in career, I think, and a rule in content strategy, in content, if content works, double down on it. If content works, do more of it. If something works, do more of it. Right? Same with job, same with career. If I love something and I'm getting better in it, I have to double down on it, and Google would not allow me to. At the same time, factor number 3 happened. Okay, do you want to hear about factor number 3?
Yes.
Factor number 3, I learned the very painful way. Not very painful, but I think you always need to know what you're worth in the market. With that, on my YouTube, I have my Google salary, which was good. It was lower 6 figures, like full compensation, lower 6 figures dollars. Pretty decent. For London, you still feel like, I'm making through it. But like, no, honestly, like it's a good salary, a really good salary. And it's a very privileged one. But at the same time, I realized I was working with a subset of creators. But I realized that if I do this job and I make more views for people who, there are some people who do not qualify for YouTube support, but they want to pay for it.
Right.
And imagine, I would give you an example. Can I give you the example?
Yeah, for sure.
So the example is that at YouTube, they would give me creators who are fantastic, who are entertainment creators. They usually like entertainment, sketches, whatever. And these creators receive the support for free and they grow and everyone is okay. But now you need to be big enough. So you won't have a partner manager at the moment.
Right.
Then I have a client. His name is Tomasz. He is the owner of the largest company that distributes liquid gas.
Okay.
Let's speak about sexy stuff. Liquid gas. So this is something you use for heating, right? So people from colder regions will understand. People from warmer regions, they're like, we hit. And I come from a very cold place myself.
Yeah.
Which is not a sexy niche. And his channel hit 5K subscribers. Okay. But this channel makes him the largest distributor of his product in his country. Largest in B2B, so for houses, in B2C for houses, but also B2B. So basically every company, every agricultural, big facility, imagine like a huge one, they need him.
Correct.
And to be there and to make his business, he needs like a tiniest channel. Like he needs to be like tiny, 4K subscribers.
Right.
And he makes 80% of sales from it. And the sales are like big figures.
Yeah,
a lot
B2B
of figures.
is very big.
Right? And now imagine how much he would be willing to pay me to grow his sales 2 times. And to grow him 2 times, let's say instead of him making 1,000 views, I need to make him 2,000 views, which is for me easy.
Right.
Right? So now this is the lesson I learned very late and also learned from Stephen Bartlett is to know where to place your skills. And you can have fantastic skills, but it doesn't matter where you place your skills. So I think placing them at YouTube was really great, but I decided, okay, I'll make a bet and I'll place them into business directly.
That's really great.
And
I
this
think.
is
Yeah.
And this is like get everything into one basket and a few other things, and this makes the full picture.
That's really great. I think. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I know it's like the big answer, but I think we tend to simplify these big decisions to one main idea. But I think that leaving your job, starting the job or leaving your job is personally a very big decision, like major, right, for everyone. And I was changing my job after 7 years. So this is like, by that time, this was third of my life.
Correct.
This was like a lot. This was overwhelming and really, really scary. So this I just want to show. And I was between I made the decision to leave the job and I left the job, like I think 3 years passed. So this was neither fast nor easy, nor it was just one factor. It was like all coming together slowly.
Yeah, makes sense. And how was your journey? Like once you started your own company and left Google, so how was that path? I know it must be very difficult for you, first of all, to set up a team. And so how you started? Like you started on your own or you created your team? What was that part?
Do we want to encourage your listeners or to discourage them?
We can include.
No, big disclaimer. I think big disclaimer that I now, based on my experience and my mother's experience, because my mother had the same, so she became entrepreneur from employed after being employed at one place for 30 years. Okay, and I was helping her. I think to be an entrepreneur, it makes to be your own decision, because I think this is so much harder than anything else. Like this is really hard. And this is what you will always hear on the online. This is a very hard journey. Right. So I think unless you really want to be an entrepreneur, don't be. But there is one big but that I feel that covers for everything. I think for me, being an entrepreneur means every day I'm learning something new. I'm the absolutely most stupid person in the room 100% of times, all the time. I feel like the idiot daily, but this allows me to learn a lot. And I love learning. And this is absolutely the most enriching experience. And it brings me so much good emotion. So with that, it's hard. The level of energy I have matches this. I have a lot more energy to do work than I had when I was in the corporate. Does it make sense?
Definitely.
So I think if you compare, is it hard? It's like so much harder. And like, I knew it would be harder, but it doesn't make it easier. It's just still hard. But like also the level of energy is there to match. So I think if you feel like you're gonna have the energy to match, that's like a really good way to go. But a few things that really changed. So first of all I prepped, so I can speak
Right.
about the prep.
Yeah.
Okay, so I prepped. I can speak about a few ways how I prepped. Shall we start from this?
Yeah,
I can
we
speak
can
about
start
the way.
from prep, or then we can begin like the other journey.
Yeah, or maybe the journey. So okay, I'll tell you about the journey first.
Sure.
So I closed my laptop, I closed my work laptop, and literally opened up my project because I had my
Project.
first project signed already. Yes.
Yeah.
Did not receive money to be kind of in compliance with the company, but I had already signed it and I did everything. So I think a few things that became much harder that I did not expect, but they surprised me. Suddenly, I used to be Anastazja from Google. It was like very easy. You email anyone replies. You show up at the event, everyone comes up to you. Everyone wants to meet you for the coffee because they want a picture in your office, and it's
Yeah.
fine. It's transactional, but it's very fine. Once I lost this badge, this all left, to the point that I left Google, and then I was invited to the big marketing conference in London, the very, very big one, very famous one. And there was a situation that I think depicts it all. That was me, and this was my best friend from YouTube. Just a few months before, me and her, we would share the desk, right? We would be like absolute equals. We would share the desk, do similar jobs. She did this job in the Middle East. I did this job in Europe. It's like the same, just different languages. I was doing this in English. She was doing it in Arabic. We arrived at the conference, like again, 2 months ago, we were the same person, but now her badge says YouTube and my badge says X YouTube because it did not have the name of my company yet. And if I had it, like no one knows that. So, and she's been approached by a person who says, "Hey, our company really needs a YouTube channel." And she's like, "Well, I cannot really set up a new channel as a part of YouTube. To have a new channel, you need to work from someone external." Like Anastazja points to me, and this person literally does not talk to me. She's like, "No, I want you." And then we move, and then the next person comes to her and says, "Hi, I'm this person from ASUS." Like ASUS, ASUS.
Yeah.
And this person literally does not say hi to me. So you become an empty spot. And I was like, I knew this would have it, but like this one, this much. So I think, and now, and the funniest story, people at corporates, and I was the same. I was like, oh my God, in this company, instead of doing the job, I constantly need to send emails about my job and, work on my promotion. So do all this like marketing within the company, right? Do you know it? And it's annoying. So once you leave, at the corporate, it was maybe 30% of my work. Now I left, and it's like 70. Because once you leave and you lose the logo and you become yourself independent, like naturally trust of strangers drops. So people do not know you, right? They cannot simplify it by your company, so they trust you less. So I think you need to put so much more effort into promoting yourself. And it's not to like the bad promotion, but it's literally you just need to make sure the person in front of you can trust you and you need to help them. So the absolute biggest thing that changes this. Rest is fine. A lot of things are like operational, team, I saw them this way or the other in the company. It's like, but the amount of self-promotion and the importance of it is really big.
Yeah.
This is one challenge. Yeah.
That's
And I have the
really
second
nice.
one,
Yeah,
unless I'm talking for too long.
for sure. Go ahead.
The second challenge for everyone leaving the company, it was for me. My second challenge when I was leaving the company, I was like, okay, I have this skill. I want to sell it at a more expensive rate and not tied to a company. But this was actually a wrong mindset to do.
Yeah.
Why? Because I thought I'm leaving the company to be an entrepreneur. But in reality, this meant I'm leaving the company to be a freelancer.
Right.
And these are two very different things.
Correct.
Right? There is a book on it that I learned from someone. I did not invent it. It's called E Myth Revisited, and it's written with like the language I absolutely hate, like this very push American tone of voice. but it's a very good book. It's a very good book that basically tells you the difference between like the skill set you need to be a freelancer and actually execute on the role and lead a business. And leading a business is doing everything but actually doing your role.
Right.
So for first maybe year and a half, I was doing basically a freelance job with a small team. And then like trying, now I'm in the point where I have like more like what I'm leading. By leading, I mean I have a few products that I sell. Each of them has like specific marketing, and each of the products has a team. So that I do a few things and I systematize a lot, and a lot of knowledge comes from me. And all of my knowledge and the systems, they come from YouTube. They come from my experience of working with 800 plus channels, you know, from growing creators like 4, 5, 10 times. This all is there in place. But also what's in place are team. And it's very different attitude to work than just like, oh, rush into every client and executing.
That's really nice.
So yeah, but this is like a very separate pillar. Honestly, I'm going through the learning now. If anyone from my viewers want to mentor me,
why not start with this channel only?
I'll learn. Yeah.
And so what's this one advice that you follow in your life? You've gone through a lot of things, different things, right? And build your own business. So what's that one advice that you keep telling yourself?
This is the advice from my, so this is the advice I think I want to follow. But sometimes I'm a very shy person. I know that people say I don't look like, but if I'm really honest, I'm extremely shy person, extremely, like very shy. I'm afraid of like very basic things. But my dad, when I was really, really young, that he told me, I come from Belarus, from Belarusian Polish family, so this was not in English. But in English, this would sound like, if you ask, they won't beat you. In a sense that always ask. So if you are afraid, just ask. If you're not sure, just ask. If you want to get something, and even if you assume no one gives it to you, just ask. Right? So basically ask for help, ask for resources, ask a client for a call, ask a client to buy. I think a lot of opportunities. So I think just the world is full of opportunities, like honestly full of different things. And a lot of things just, we don't get them because we just do not like, you know, stretch our hand to get them. So let's try.
Definitely. Yeah. And what's your dream right now at this point?
Dream?
Yeah.
I think it's more a plan. So because dreams I have, so I try to separate dream and a plan. And dream for me is something that I really don't have full action items on. And there are things in life we all have, every one of us have our own struggles or our family struggles. So that a few I really want to not be there, but I have a very limited agency on them. I just cannot do much. And I think the dream would be just to make sure family is healthy, good. But on the plan. But on the plan, so I plan to build my business in an interesting way. So, you know, the internet is full of mostly men giving like really masculine Alex Hormoz advice. And I found myself there. But actually, because I'm a woman, I want to have children and I plan to have children. I want to have family, and honestly, I value family. And I value my free time a lot. And I realized I left corporate when I left the corporate, I realized I did not leave it to be the slave of my business. So I'm not the person who want to work 14 hours a day or 10, and I don't glorify it. So I think now I'm on the plan to build a business that allows me to work very limited hours in a week. I want to work, but not too much. My goal is 10 to 20, maybe 10 ultimately, honestly, very honestly. So anyone who wants one-on-one with me, it will be very expensive. But the systems will be in place to cover for the quality of the product. And they build a team who are really, really happy. In the meantime, I realized that I help a lot of people to like build their careers, and this is very empowering. And be the place who helps creators and businesses grow on YouTube with a very easy roadmap, easy to execute. The roadmap that does not have any myth or any shadow banning things or any like weird stuff that businesses use. So I think that's it. But like privately, this is like I want to have lots of breathing room to be sure that when I enter the room with a client or the podcast like you, I bring my absolutely best energy. Right.
That's really
And
nice.
yeah. And one other thing that is happening, I'll tell you that this one is a dream, but this is happening. Only work with people I would pay to be mentored by.
That's
And I
very
think
that's very deep advice or deep thought, I say.
I don't think this is advice applicable everywhere, and I don't think you have to do it. But at least in my one-on-one work, I'm absolutely privileged to work with so smart people, with such strong leaders, and serve people who are like, wow, that making decisions of like making next project decisions. This is probably one of my biggest criteria if I choose a project or not is, okay, is this the person I want to help? Do they have the mission? Would I personally learn from them, or would my team learn from them?
That's really nice. And I think that's the best part to wrap up this podcast. So thank you so much, Nastia. I think you shared very insightful things with us, and it was really inspiration for me as well and for the people watching. Like sometimes if you achieve your dream, it's not the end. You can start a completely different thing from there as well. So keep shining and keep inspiring.
Thank you. We all do. Yeah. Thank you.